Hello and welcome or welcome back to the Import Export Hub channel, everybody. Bas Bogdan here, your host for the next 10 minutes or so. Thanks for joining me. I hope everything is fine, and without asking you to hit those small buttons below this video, allow me to cover 5 products that are worth exporting towards Turkey. And I will begin with ferrous waste and scrap. So we are talking about heading 7204, and we see that in 2022, Turkey's overall imports amounted to some $9.7 billion, almost 13% less than in 2021, with the United States here, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom as the main partners, which were followed in this top 10 list by others like, I don't know, Lithuania, Romania, or Germany, to name just a few. This last one with some $309 million worth of exports towards Turkey. In terms of compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years, we have a 6.3% increase, with only one country in this top 10 list registering a contraction, the United Kingdom. But as we can see here, it's quite negligible, some 0.41% contraction. While if we look at the year-on-year changes, things are more volatile, of course, and we have just 3 countries who managed to increase their exports towards Turkey. So the United States, Denmark, and also Venezuela, while the rest of 7 had negative changes. The largest absolute one happening in relation with the Netherlands, some $403 million contraction for 2022. As for the main drivers here, we see that for both the United States and Venezuela, we have the same subheading, 720449, so waste and scrap of iron or steel, excluding here slag, scale, and other waste generated in the production of iron and steel. Jumping now, guys, to my second recommendation, we have here preparations used in animal feeding, heading 2309 to be exact. And we have some $334 million worth of imports for 2022, some 28% more relative to the previous year, with France, Brazil, and China as the main partners. But as we can see, we have other important ones like, I don't know, Italy, Hungary, or Poland, again, to name just a couple from this top 10 list. The sector here, if you ask me, is on an upward trend, and I don't think it reached a plateau just yet. And the compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years is really impressive, both in absolute and relative terms, as we have almost 17% growth in the last 5 years, with all the top 10 partners having positive figures. And this holds true on a year-on-year basis, with impressive figures coming from Brazil and France, both here with figures above that $10 million mark. But if you ask me, also China is going to be a contender, with its $9.3 million worth of exports for 2022. Now, in what concerns the main drivers here from this heading, we have 230990 for the French exports, while Hungary's exports are mainly driven by subheading 230910. So we are talking about dog or cat food put up for retail sale. My third recommendation, guys, comes from heading 3105, mineral or chemical fertilizers, and we see that 2022 was a very good year, some $678 million worth of imports for Turkey, with Russia here, Tunisia, and also Morocco as Turkey's main partners, followed by others like China, Jordan, or France. Again, to mention just a couple from this top 10 list. And if we look at the compound annual growth rate column, we see a 13% growth overall, with only Jordan in this top 10 list having registered the contraction, some 14%. While on a year-on-year analysis, we have 2 countries who have registered a contraction, and Jordan is joined by Morocco, While on the positive side, we see big absolute positive changes coming from Russia and Tunisia. Some $81 million more exports for the former and some $47 million for the latter. And I've highlighted Morocco here, as Morocco is a traditional partner for Turkey. In fact, between 2019 and 2021, it was Turkey's main partner for this particular heading. But in 2022, things changed a little bit, and it managed only the third place, as my instinct tells me that the Russian fertilizers were more attractive in terms of price, as they've dumped the price, of course, in order to quickly fill the coffers of sanctioned Russia after the war broke out. But of course, this is my own opinion. Let's say it's my educated guess, and I might be completely wrong here. And if you have a different opinion, don't hesitate to drop a line below in the comment section, as I will now move to my fourth recommendation. And I know, guys, it's counterintuitive, as Turkey is predominantly an Islamic country, and of course alcohol is forbidden, but fortunately Turkey is also a beautiful country worth visiting. Some 44 million tourists, if I remember correctly, arrived in Turkey in 2022, mostly from Europe. So we are talking about Germany, Russia, United Kingdom, and also Poland. I think managed a good number of visits in Turkey. And of course, we enjoyed their summer holidays mostly. And of course, they need something to drink as well. So for me, that's a very good reason to include this subheading. And we see some $251 million overall imports for 2022, with the United Kingdom here, Mexico, and the United States dominating. But we have others like, I don't know, France, Italy, or Japan, I don't know. This last one with some $3.2 million worth of exports. The compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years is positive, almost 27%, with the United Kingdom as the top performer, and the same goes true for the year-on-year changes, as the United Kingdom had the largest absolute positive change, almost $47 million more exports relative to 2021. And it seems that the spirits industry in the United Kingdom put in place some aggressive moves in order to capture Turkey's markets. And speaking of United Kingdom, earlier we see that whiskeys, what else really, drove most of the exports towards Turkey, while Italy's exports were mainly driven by subheading 22870. So we are talking about liqueurs and cordials, mostly cordials if you ask me, but this is another hunch of mine, of course. And lastly, guys, my fifth and last recommendation comes from heading 0801, so Brazil nuts and cashew nuts, with some $115 million worth of imports for 2022, with Vietnam, the Philippines, and Indonesia as the main partners. But as you can see, we have other important ones like, I don't know, Sri Lanka or Tanzania, even though, let's face it, the figures are not that impressive. Relative to the year-on-year changes, we have an overall 20% increase, which translates into $24 million in absolute terms, thanks to the good performances coming from Côte d'Ivoire and Vietnam, both with figures above the $7 million mark. While on the negative side, we have Indonesia and Malaysia also, both with figures around $1 million each. As for the main drivers, well, we see fresh or dried cashew nuts, shelled, coming from Vietnam, so subheading 080132, while from Sri Lanka we have desiccated coconuts, so subheading 080111. And guys, with this last recommendation being covered as well, that's all for today. Thank me by hitting the small buttons below this video. I hope you've liked it, and as usual, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.